In the early hours of the 31st of December 1983, an inbound convoy of military vehicles led by Brigadier Ibrahim Bako had entered the city of Abuja from Kaduna. Their task was simple enough: arrest and secure the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, Alh Shehu Aliyu Shagari. This was on the premise that President Shagari's brigade of guards would have been neutralized, as planned, without violence, by Colonel Tunde Ogbeha. This was not so, and Bako was not aware of that. Worst still, the coup plot had been leaked to President Shagari, whose guards were now on high alert. After arriving at Aguda House, the presidential residence, with an armed detachment to secure the president, the stage was set for one of the most dramatic gunfights in Nigeria's political history. To guard, protect, and defend the Nigerian president was the Brigade of Guards, an elite presidential bodyguard, made up of some of the best-trained hands in the Nigerian armed forces, and headed by Captain Augustine Anyogo. They fought to the last, and in the ensuing battle and under circumstances that are still not very clear, Bako was shot dead while sitting in the passenger side of a Unimog utility truck. However, before Bako's arrival, at about 4 a.m., President Shagari had been whisked out of Aguda House by his aide-de-camp, Major Ali Gaidam. Shagari was taken to Group Captain Usman Jibrin's farmhouse in Kefi, Nasarawa State, from where the Buhari military regime took him into detention. Later in the morning, Nigerians woke up to the sound of martial music on their radio and television sets. Then, at about 5 a.m. in the morning, the throaty voice of one Brigadier Sani Abacha came on air informing Nigerians of the shenanigans that characterized the Shehu Shagari civilian government. Claiming to be speaking on behalf of his other colleagues in the armed forces, the army officer itemized the reasons why he and his colleagues had decided to shove the corrupt politicians aside. The majority of Nigerians were not taken aback by the sacking of the politicians by the military. To them, their fall was good riddance. Corruption had become endemic in Nigeria, and the political rascals under Alhaji Shagari legitimized this national cankerworm. While unconfirmed reports suggest that the general officer commanding the 3rd Armored Division in Jos, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, was in on the coup plot, however, those that were confirmed to have actively participated in the coup included Major General Ibrahim Babangida, Brigadier Ibrahim Bako, Brigadier Sani Abacha, Brigadier Tunde Idiagbon, Lieutenant Colonel Aliyu Muhammad Gusau, Lieutenant Colonel Halalu Akilu, Lieutenant Colonel David Mark, Lieutenant Colonel Tunde Ogbeha, Major Sambo Dasuki, Major Abdulmumini Aminu, Major Lawan Gwadabe, Major Mustafa Jokolo, Major Abubakar Umar, and Chief Moshood Kashimawo Abiola, a business tycoon who financed the coup plot. All was not smooth sailing, though, for the coup planners. As of 12 noon on the 31st of December 1983, a decision had not been made on who would be the head of state. The brain behind that coup was the late Brigadier Bako, who was killed by Alhaji Shehu Shagari's presidential guards in Abuja. If he had survived, Brigadier Bako would probably have emerged as head of state. There was so much rancor and bitterness at the meeting called to deliberate on who will be Brigadier Bako's replacement. 2 names, however, came out tops: Major General Ibrahim Babangida, who was the Director of Army Staff Duties and Plans, and Major General Muhammadu Buhari. Eventually, a consensus was reached, and Major General Muhammadu Buhari was agreed upon to be the next head of state. A plane was then dispatched to Jos Plateau State to fetch Buhari, and he was made head of state. Thus began the Muhammadu Buhari Tunde Idiagbon military regime, which, unfortunately, lasted for only 20 months before it was ousted by Major General Ibrahim Babangida.